Right, let's go on to those trending topics now. First up, hashtag Empangeni.
Wow.
Now, this about a storm that broke out in Empangeni. And of course, all the pictures and the videos that people were sharing on the social media platforms, scary, scary stuff.
My goodness, I was looking at some of the visuals and some of those things that people were capturing, and the storms with, I mean, it looked, I was surprised that in some of the ones, the cars weren't blown away. It was that bad. I mean, you just saw chairs and tables and gazebos and dirt and trolleys and you name it, all blowing in this wind that was accompanied by a swirling storm. It was insane. I must say, it was just a very, very scary storm and some scary visuals. And then, of course, they also showed insides. I think the one was an inside of a game store where this had come through into the factory or the warehouse, and it was just showing you how the floor was flooding, things were flying through the door. I mean, it was just crazy. What a storm it was yesterday in Empangeni. I hope everything is okay there now. If you're watching from Empangeni, please just send us the aftermath of it and just let us know that all is okay there. So that's the trend of Empangeni in KZN. So yeah.
Sure. Indeed. So that's Empangeni. Hashtag Brics. That's the next one up. And you would know that South Africa, of course, part of Brics. But there's so much going on with regard to nations that apparently are looking to join Brics. And a lot of talk here around a reconfiguration of, world power and dominance. So a lot is being said, looking at what the Brics nations contribute. Mexico, I understand, has submitted a request to join Brics, and we're hearing of so many countries at the moment who want to join Brics, and that's going to have serious consequences for the current world order, one would imagine. And so lots of talk around this, and of course South Africa later this year. There's talk about President Putin, whether he will or will not attend the BRICS summit here in South Africa. So all of these conversations, along with what's happening with Saudi Arabia and OPEC, there's a lot being discussed. Currency matters in terms of what's happening in different countries, moving away from dollar-denominated, trading, etc. So it's quite interesting what's happening along the BRICS line.
Yeah, and very, very much so. I think you hit the nail on the head with that whole currency talk, because that, I think, is the center of all of it. And many people actually, members, non-members of BRICS, calling for that, saying that, the world must actually ditch the dollar. And this movement grows as Russia calls for the creation of a common BRICS currency. That's now what is being spoken about. So, and as you say, I mean, BRICS as it stands now, 5 members, but there is interest from so many other countries and very powerful nations wanting to join in this. So BRICS is a massive talking point. And do not take your eye off that ball, because that is one that's growing a lot of traction.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Mexico's application, because the talk is that their relations with the United States are deteriorating under Joe Biden. So we're waiting to see what all of this is going to mean ultimately. And also other talk about the 5 BRICS nations now contributing more to world GDP than the industrialized G7.
Wow. Amazing.
So there's a lot going on here.
Goodness gracious. Okay, anyway, so we could talk about that, as you see, for a long time, and that's it. Ramaphosa is the next trending topic, and I think that this has, I mean, the president is trends every other day. I mean, you will always see his name trending, but when you open it this morning, a lot of it has to do with what has been announced with Eskom. And again, this is what we're going to be discussing in the next hour, so we won't dwell on it too much. But certainly this is something where people are looking back and wondering, after Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana came under fire for exempting Eskom from regulations that require state-owned entities to disclose expenditure that does not comply with the provisions of the Public Finance Management Act. And then they're saying, how can the president allow something like this? So it's not only Eskom, this is Transnet as well.
Yeah, Transnet happened last year, I think. So It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And also, I think we have Ismail Momonia from Treasury coming in the next hour. So perhaps an opportunity to understand from Treasury the rationale behind this and what does it ultimately mean? How has this assisted Transnet, as an example, and how are they hoping it's going to benefit Eskom?
Wow. All right. Looking forward to that conversation because that's a very important one. And then finally, Mpopolate, still trending. You know, I mean, we saw the conference that took place, the elective conference for the DA over the weekend, and Mpopolate was up against who has now taken over once again. The leadership is John Steenhuisen of the DA, and people just talking to Mpopolate. There were rumors that she was going to leave the DA, but she has disputed those rumors and said she will be staying in and still serving as a DA member. And you know, it just there's a lot going on with regard to speaking about Mpopolate, and some saying, you know, she actually put up a better than expected fight for the leadership, but did she ever stand a chance? And of course, the margins that she lost by. There's a lot being spoken about.
I think it was a principal matter for Mpopolate. I think she was never going to win against Steenhuisen, but given what had happened to her and how the DA had handled the whole city of Johannesburg debacle when she was ousted as mayor, I think, you know, that for me was kind of the moment where she perhaps felt that she needed to make a stand, take a stand, and just basically put her message out there. So for me, I always thought it was more principal matter for Mpopolate, but the rumors of her leaving the party have been swirling for a long time, knowing that her husband is at Action SA and people have been talking about that. But I don't know, it remains to be seen. There was an interesting picture yesterday, though. I'm just trying to scroll to see if I can find it, of Helen Zille.
Oh, no,
there was one. There was a picture.
Oh, there's the one where Helen Zille and all the people behind her.
There was Musi Maimane, and you know, a whole lot of other. Patricia DeLille was in that picture. The lady went to Harvard.
Rampile Mampile. She was also in that picture.
Mampela Rampile was in that picture, and so basically Lindiwe Mazibuko.
Everyone.
So people were just saying, yeah, Helen has dealt with them. Right?
Man.
She's really cleaned house. So the experiment is over now with Gwen Ngwenya also leaving. So interesting.
All right. Okay, so that's why Mpopolate is still a big trending topic on social media. That's it. That's where we leave it for now. Those are the trends.